Right, so Omrik, go on. So Omrik, so Omrik, you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me? If you can
Yeah,
hear
we
me,
can
please
hear you. Go
respond.
on.
Okay, sure. So, as to start with, like the topic was primarily regarding the crisis that is going on currently in Rajasthan, and leading all the information and everything will finally lead to the answer that you're supposed to think about. So, I would like everyone to address this issue in their respective manner. So, whatever information comes up, we can in the end we can summarize and reach the conclusion. So I would first like to state something that there is like the first thing is this is an issue that has been raised since 2018 and it's 2020 now. So every fact and every information has to be included. Otherwise, we can. And another thing is like this issue is something that is very based on every perspective. Like whether it is Ashok Gehlot who is involved or whether it is pilot who is involved. But the thing is, like, there is supporters everywhere. So we cannot just see one side. We have to see both sides to finally reach the conclusion. So the first thing is, I would like to hear everybody's opinion. So anybody would like to start with that?
You know what? I have asked everybody to unmute, and
Yeah.
those who want to speak, please speak.
Yeah. Hello guys, it's Yashashvi here. Seeing the topic, I believe it's the government mistake which has led to the whole crisis. As in politics, it's always about interest, it always about votes, and it always about ideologies. Now, if, for example, like Sachin Pilot, ideology was not matching with the show Galot one. That's why he revolted against it. There were some personal as well as some political, challenges that first of all Sachin Pilot needed Lok Sabha seat, which was not given, and there are many reasons. But according to me, it's the ruling party which has the hold over its all the party members. So if Ashok Gehlot have seen all these things coming, so he would have acted before. So in my perspective, it's the government who should be blamed.
So the thing is, like, as far as I see the situation, like for government, you mean the Congress government, right?
Yes, the ruling government of that state, that is Congress.
Yeah. So I wouldn't disagree with you, but I would like to see the point in a more clear way, right? Because everything has to be justified over here. The first thing, as you said, is before the elections, it was discussed that Sachin Pilot should be given the seat to the CM. And the
Mm.
main reason was that Sachin Pilot was one of the primary figures for Congress getting the majority votes. So after the election was done, the seat was suddenly shifted to Ashok Gehlot. And on the other hand, Sachin Pilot was given the deputy ministership. Okay. So that is done. But I think there was a little bit of rivalry going on between with both the parties. That's definitely a given because after this there is supposed to be this kind of things because both have their own supporters, both have their ideologies, as you pointed out, Yashasvi. So we can see that on 13, like out of it's a simple thing, right? Because he said that maybe he didn't be certain, he wasn't certain, but he said maybe Ashok Gehlot may have less supporters. Okay, and that was the only reason that sparked the entire scenario that we are seeing right now. And what happened? The next day, Sachin Pilot was removed from the seat as a deputy minister, as well as from the president seat of the Rajasthan Pradesh Congress Committee, right? So, what are you like? What is everybody thinking? Like, was it really justified? Like, should he be removed? Like, what was the main reason behind Ashok Gehlot removing it? I really want to find everybody's opinion. I really want to know everybody's opinion because to me, I feel that somewhere something is missing. Like this shouldn't happen on one day. So what is everybody's opinion?
To the question which you said, just wait a minute. Just wait a minute. There are
All right, so if I can put my point before Yashasvi starts speaking or anything, I feel that BJP is definitely involved in this. Like, there's no doubt about that. But the problem I face is that Sachin Pilot, if he wanted to become the CM or if he wanted to topple the government, he could do so. But the problem is he didn't get enough votes from the members right there. And if he doesn't get votes, then there's no point of him toppling the government. If he could prove his majority, then we could have this discussion on whether who's better or who's not better. But the fact of the matter is, he still doesn't have enough votes for that. And
The thing is, as you pointed out, you're right, you're not wrong. But I would like to say one thing. Like Ashok Gehlot has been in the party for a long time, and most of the political party leaders or whoever are involved in the party, they are aged. So, but Sachin Pilot's target is like he wants to make the situation a bit more among the young people. Like he wants to address the young people. So his majority of support are under 50, while on Ashok Gehlot's case it is above 45 to 50. So which constitutes the majority of the Congress party. Okay, I'm not going there at all. So let's just say that what is going to happen if Sachin Pilot joins BJP. Let me clarify. Like doing an envelope calculation, we can see that the chances are very much at stake here for both parties. Like for example, out the board consists of 200 MLAs, and when Sachin Pilot was in BJP in Congress, they had a total of 124 MLAs. But when Sachin Pilot is leaving, he has support of 19 MLAs. So when he is leaving there, it's leaving just 105 MLAs for Ashok Gehlot. Now let's talk about the independents. The independents, Sachin Pilot is saying that he has a support of three independents. So that makes it even
Correct,
less.
correct. See, the mainly the topic was whom we have to play. Like,
Yeah,
so it's like the young people, young leaders, or the old leaders. And
yeah.
you pointed out one more thing that Sachin, like there was a BJP angle in Sachin pilot, right? But until and unless we have facts, these are all just theories.
But the thing is, we cannot really involve BJP because Sachin Pilot is not joining BJP. Sachin Pilot on 15th July himself said that he won't be joining BJP. So
No,
we cannot really consider BJP here because BJP also said that it is an internal matter, so they are not going to get involved themselves. But okay, we can say one thing that BJP definitely said that if Sachin Pilot wants to join us, he can join. That's what BJP said. So
I
yeah,
guess
I
that's
don't
the
see any.
narrative of
No,
any
no.
political party.
Uh,
guys,
That's
guys, wait. First, Shubham Kumar has raised his hand. I think we can hear from some other people also, right?
yeah,
Yes,
sure.
yes.
Before jumping. Yeah, Shubham, go on, please.
Okay, so after listening to you all, let me clear out something. So the first thing that came out, Congress versus BJP. To clear it out, in 2018, Congress won over BJP. That is, Congress had somewhat 109 seats. BJP won around 72 seats, and the rest were some independents and some of the allies of BJP. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Now that you are saying that
And his supporters at 124 seats. Yeah, continue.
now that you're saying that Sachin Pilot, uh, first of all, he did not leave. Actually, the matter was the same thing happened, which happened in Karnataka and Madhya Pradesh, where BJP was rigging, that is, buying MLAs of Congress to turn down their rule over there. And that happened in Karnataka and Madhya Pradesh. And the same thing was being tried in Rajasthan. But actually over here, police caught two of their agents who were trying to bribe the MLAs on a phone call, and they were immediately arrested. When Gehlot came to know about this, he sent police to him to record their statements and their 19 MLAs, which triggered Sachin Pilot, and he left. Okay,
No, no, Sachin
and
Pilot didn't leave Congress.
he didn't leave Congress. He left
Yeah, he stayed
left
in
that
Congress.
state. If you have you've seen, he left there and went to Gurgaon to stay in a hotel with all his MLAs that were in support of him,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
actually 30 MLAs left with him. So the thing that happened when Gehlot came to know about this, he bought like he held a meeting, some I think legislature meeting. I don't exactly know what it is called, but it was a legislature meeting where an MLA needs to be present, and if the MLA does not come, then disciplinary actions would
Yeah,
be
yeah,
taken against him. Two times meeting held of the MLAs that were with went to that, and the 19 Gehlot, then he removed Sachin Pilot from deputy CM's post and different posts that he was held at, and he tried to disqualify the 19 MLAs that were in favor of Sachin Pilot. Okay.
yeah.
So and
That's
now
true.
the okay, if anyone has any points, you can speak.
Uh,
Then I'll be speaking.
yeah, Arnav, I think you can
I
speak
have
before
a
Yash.
doubt. Gehlot is from Congress, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Actually, both are from Congress.
Both are from
Yeah,
Congress. I
yeah,
don't see BJP's involvement much here because BJP may have done that, but the entire thing is Congress's
exactly,
internal
exactly.
Shubham,
like
like,
politics,
see,
right? So I
I
don't
Shomrik,
think
I
BJP.
can't hear you. Can you be a
Guys,
bit
guys,
louder?
guys, guys, wait, guys, wait. First, Arnab will speak. After that, I think we can have a discussion. Let's first give everybody a chance to speak now. Wants to speak?
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Arnab, go on.
So actually, I was just want to highlight the fact what happened. Some of the members from BJP they tried to buy some MPs. No doubt on that. They had released some audio calls over that. I think they offered around 25 crore per MLA. I'm not sure about that, but this incident happened. Now, see, someone is trying to buy you, and if you are not ready, so it is not your fault, na. So just put yourself in place of Sachin Pilot place.
Hmm.
So what happened? Someone is tried to buy you. Say they just falsely alleged you some with some charges, but at the same time, see, if that kind of conspiracy is going on in your family, so will you agree that if your mother or father don't talk to you directly to you and they simply just give a charge on you, if you have any kind of if your mother or father thinks that you have done anything wrong, they will directly talk to you. They will not give you any kind of letter or anything like that. So similar thing happened with Sachin Pilot, because uh, he is in that party, and then why the CM the Gailot, why didn't he talk to him directly? So that is the thing. And because yes, Sachin Pilot is an experienced politician. So I think from 26 years he is in this Congress team. So there is a point of view from this sentiment and respect. So I think it is all because of Ashok Gehlot's conspiracy and that kind of immaturity, because of which Sachin Pilot is now out of the team. If
Yeah,
at that point when Gehlot came to know that some of the BJP goons is trying to by the Congress MLAs, so at that particular moment he should have talked to Sachin Pilot directly. It could be solved, but he didn't do that. So I think for that for that whole story, only Ashok Gehlot is responsible.
yeah. Ashok Gehlot, I also agree to Arnab. And to add on, like if you don't mind, Karthik, can I say something?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
go on.
others want to speak? If others want to speak, then I can.
Somrik, sorry. Sanjeev joined just now. Apparently is late. Sanjeev, do you want to say something? If you want to, you can
So
unmute
I think I would
yourself.
like to say something. First, if Sajid just joined,
Yeah.
so I would like to ask Sajid if he wants to if he wants us to catch him up on this. Like, Sajid, do you mind? Like, do you want us to catch you up on what just happened? Yeah.
Can I talk?
Yeah, yeah, go on.
The
Okay.
thing that I found really interesting is that after Sachin Pilot left, Rahul Gandhi did not even try to bring him back to the party. He was just like that. If anyone want to leave, you could leave. That's the opinion. That's the how attitude of the Rahul Gandhi, which really shocked me. It's like he was supposed to keep them tie up and keep the Congress and stop other MLAs from leaving, but he was not that effective. That's the word I found it really annoying and so much disturbed by the fact that Rahul Gandhi does not care about Sachin Pilot leaving, and he does not think that He does not care that most of his young cadres are from the Congress are leaving. He does not think more about that. That's what really annoys me about it.
Okay, so on this context, like I would want to say a point that at thinking about Rahul Gandhi's point of view, what I felt is like maybe he thought that it's a teamwork, and when someone is not happy with your team and he leaves your party, then maybe he wishes to join that, and even if you try and please and tell him to come back to your party, it won't work. Some day or the other he would leave you and go to the other party. So in that way maybe he thought in that manner.
See, this is what happened in the Sindhya case also. Most of the young people are leaving the party, which is not really good for the Congress party. Or most of them are old leaders there, and they never really give up their position or power. They never delegate their power to the young youth of the Congress party, which is such a bad move for the Congress.
Guys, this
Okay,
is not the
so
first time. Karthik, I just want to add one thing.
Yashasvi, I'm really sorry to interrupt. Abhishek has just joined now and he
Okay,
wants to say
okay,
something.
okay.
So,
Sure, sure.
yeah,
Hello,
Abhishek.
am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, I,
Go on.
I came late actually. Like I only finished eating my lunch now. And
No worries.
yeah, regarding the topic, my thing is that first of all, the blame actually lies on both the sides because in politics, the first thing that these people, the one whom we actually elect, should have the understanding that politicians are elected by the people and their duty is to serve the people, and they should not go behind money. They should not go for poaching. And when all these they don't have a pro people ideologies, these things keep on happening. And here in the case of Rajasthan, to be specific, even though both sides have the blame, I would still give an extra blame to obviously the BJP, because they are now in power and they are trying to topple the government in almost all the states where they have lost the power. They have a good amount of money, they have corporate funding, all those things. They'll use all those kinds of money to actually topple the government. And regarding the other side, the opposition Congress side, what I have to say is that they actually became ideologically void. Now they are trying to simply mimic or follow the same ideology of the BJP in a milder sense. Uh, every party has some kind of an ideology. BJP also has some kind of an ideology, even though I disagree with that. They have an ideology, but the Congress do not have anything as such. So what happens? The people who are power hungry, the corrupt and opportunist peoples completely comes and fills the void. And I think when Congress was in power for too long, and almost all such opportunists have now already switched to the BJP. And when such a ideology does not exist, and there do not have a ideological barrier, those people will start thinking that what's the difference between these two? Anyway, both are kind of following a similar kind of ideology. So they will start to switch to the sides. And uh, at the last, the blame actually comes to the people, because we still elect them. Of course, like a big country like India, where there is only a binary like BJP or Congress, we don't think much about that. So if like the BJP's policy, I think is like the Chadur Ramalingam's policy in Three Idiots. If you have to top the exams, either you have to score big marks or you have to make the marks of other people less. So what the Congress is trying, the BJP is trying to do is that, yes, they have a lot of problem, but all they are trying to is not improve, to take criticism and improve on that, rather than they are trying to display the other weaker opposition as much weaker than them, so that the people have no other option than to select these things. And to be frank, I think it's not something like people suddenly thinks that this party is good because they're doing good, and that's why they're switching. I frankly believe that it's really a game of money, these people. And in our area and all, the each district level there are like uh, irrespective of the party, all gram panchayat, everyone has to give the daily reports, the COVID cases, they have to plan the mitigation strategy, everything. It's one of the most important time where they have been elected to serve the people. And at this kind of time, these people like are in a political quarantine. They are not able to serve the people. Like I will take one example again from my state in 2011. The ruling party got 72 seats out of 140. Opposition got 68 seats. There are many parties in this, only 2 seats less. But still, the opposition leader said that we are never going to poach anyone or do any kind of thing to make the government fall. The people have given the mandate. We will obey that. And 5 years, the government went like that with just the difference of two things. So there are some righteousness and certain principles that all politicians need to follow. And I think that's completely absent in the Indian scenario. And both the people, instead of taking criticisms, only want to portray the other side as much worse than us. So after all, it's only going to affect the people, and it's the people we only who are going to elect them. But just I got one example, like one MLA from uh, Dungargarh. I came to saw a news. His name is Giridharilal Mahia, and he like it was in news 3 4 days before. He was telling like ऐसा कौन सी currency है जो मुझको खरीद सकते हैं, which means is there any kind of a currency that I can be bought. He does not have to go into a political quarantine or in a hotel like the Congress leader. He is not a member of Congress as well as BJP, and he is one of the poorest as well. He's a farmer, I think, and he was in the place because there were this locust attack. He was working for the people. I think we only have hope on such kind of people who are having using the politics actually as a medium to serve the people.
All right, Somrik, I can see that you have raised your hand, but Yashasvi was trying to say something before that. Is it okay if we go to him before you? Yashasvi, if you want to speak something, you can do it now.
Okay, first of all, I agreed with Abhishek what said, but one point I wanted to contradict. India is not a bi-party system where only Congress and BJP. We're around 7 to 8 national parties for his kind of information. Other thing which I want to point out is that this is not the first time, and this won't be the last time in our flawed democracy that any, you know, party is like buying or selling their MLAs or MPs. The important question is that like who is to be blamed, and that was the question of our whole GD discussion. If one political party is not strong enough, like it's a game of a team. If one falls, the whole party will fall. This is happening in Congress. There is a war between the young and the old. There is a contradiction on how they are working, and like people are not following one each other. And this is the main purpose. If you as a team are strong, then obviously no other party, no amount of money can buy you. So I just want to say these things.
Yep. Thank you. Shomrik, I know you're bursting to say many things.
Oh, definitely, definitely. So I would like to like Yashasvi actually most of like he conveyed most of my points. So I would just have to add something. Like as Yashasvi said, the primary concern here is the crisis that is going on in the Congress itself, because that is what we're talking about today. Like what is going on to the young and the old, and that's the difference between ideologies, and that is what counts at the moment. If this ideology difference can be sorted out, I don't think there is anything else that matters. So to justify this point, I would like to say something like mm, the meeting that was held on 13th, like where Ashok Gehlot and all the other Congress leaders were supposed to meet with BJP leaders to talk about it, because they were blaming BJP, and supposedly BJP does that. I'm not saying BJP doesn't do that. BJP did that in Rajasthan also. It tried. But when you are directly meeting with BJP leaders, so as someone pointed out, that you should directly talk to the person you are the most involved with. For example, here Sachin Pilot should have been the one who should have been approached first instead of going to the BJP leaders. So when that happened, I feel Pilot that what he thought that when you're directly going to the BJP leaders, that means you're undermining your own party people, and that is me, and I'm the deputy CM, so you're undermining me and the people who are with me. So you cannot just do that. So that was one reason why he didn't attend the meeting. And of course, the definite point is there was a revolt going on, and that is one of the reasons why he didn't attend, because there was a burning fire already going on. Now it has turned into a, what do I say, into a conflagration, right? So that's the only difference, a burning fire and a conflagration. So yeah, that's my point. So by
All
the
right.
way, I still think that Ashok Gehlot is the one who is most at fault here. But I cannot say that Sachin Pilot was totally right in his own terms. Yeah.
All right, Shubham, please go on.
Okay, so I heard from you all the thing that he said that in a family, if someone does a fault, then you to talking directly to them and not alleging charges at him. Guys, 2018, as I said, Ashok Gehlot came to power, and we know that there was a war going on between who needs to be the CM, that is Gehlot versus Pilot. And Pilot was the deputy CM, and he didn't say anything for 2 years consecutively. After 1 year of his rule, when the manifesto came that what all things that he has achieved in 1 year, there was no mention of Pilot in that manifesto. Okay, now coming to the thing that who is to be blamed, I'll be supporting like 95%, my votes go for Pilot, because he did nothing for the last 2 years. The only thing got him triggered was why did Gallows send police to him, when he could have directly, as you said, that we need to directly talk to the person. So when police got the recording of the people who were involved in that rigging process, they should have directly contacted to them instead of putting a traitor type of tag on Pilot that he has been working for BJP in rule of Congress. Okay, so that got him triggered, and he was never at fault at my place of view, because after he left, Gehlot tried to call him twice, which he didn't show up. And then what he did was remove Pilot from his posts, and 19 of he decided to disqualify 19 of the MLAs. Now, why did he try to disqualify 19 of his MLAs? Because he was at a risk, like he had thought that Pilot would be joining BJP and BJP would come to power, because out of 200 seats, he had 109, BJP had 72, and one of its allies had 3. Now, if 19 MLAs get disqualified, then Congress stays at power, because the same MLAs to get that post re-elections need to be occur, and they cannot go for a re-election. But if they don't get disqualified and Pilot changes the party, then the 19 of MLAs join BJP, which comes to 91, and the allies that I said before that had won 3 votes, which comes to 94. So BJP would get 94 votes, and Congress would fall from 109 to around 88, I guess. So majority comes to BJP and Congress loses. That is why he has been focusing on disqualifying the 19 MLAs that is in support of Pilot. But on 13th of July, Pilot clearly stated that he is not in any mood of joining BJP. The only 5% of my votes that does not go for Pilot is due to the scenario, because the case that has been going on in the High Court for whether the MLA needs to be get disqualified or not. The case, the lawyer of the case is a pro BJP, that is Harish Salve, and he is considered to be as one of the favorites of BJP. Like he handles all the cases of BJP members. So that's a point where I only think, like for me, I'll be going for sure with Pilot. But if he changes to BJP, then I'd be looking down on him. But if he focuses on parting a new party of himself, then I'll be for sure supporting him.
All right, thank you. Arnab, you can go forward. You raised your hand, Arnab.
Yeah, I actually was trying to say that last point that Shubham already mentioned. See, we are supporting Sachin Pilot as soon as he is out of BJP. So if tomorrow or day after tomorrow we get any news that Sachin Pilot is going to join BJP, then it will be quite clear that there was some kind of backbeating kind of thing that they did. But if that guy, that Sachin Pilot doesn't join BJP, then we can support him because of his ideology. Yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you. First of all, before anybody talks again, I would like to have a whole sort of thing, but not many people are in this meeting. So everyone in the chat, uh, just one name of who you feel is the main person to blame. Is it Gehlot? Is it Sachin Pilot? Is it BJP, the party as a whole, Congress as a whole? Everybody in the chat, who is to blame? And I'm sure people who have just joined or who have joined just to hear the discussion, they have some opinion of their own and they can type as well. So I've got a few messages stating Congress is to blame. All right, not my opinion, but that's the majority opinion. Anyways, Shamrik, you have raised your hand, but we are opening this discussion to all. Uh, yeah, anybody who wants to speak can speak.
Hello.
Yeah,
Someone
go on.
please summarize the entire thing.
Yes. So before that, I would like to say something. Can I?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, like I would like I attended the first session today, and I
Somebody
felt
please
something
put your mic a
like
little close. We can't hear you properly.
yeah, it's wireless, right? So it's the mic is not there. So anyway, can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yeah,
Is it better?
somewhat.
Okay.
No.
So there was just one thing that I felt today because this is the first session that I attended. I don't know about the last two sessions, but what I felt was like whether it's a GD or it's a debate, it's not about putting the facts. It's about how you convey it and how you communicate. I think that's something that was missing today. So if you guys can work on that, like the exposure is the main thing when it comes to a GD or a debate, not the facts. Because when you are saying the facts and that's the thing, then the
Shamrik,
important
you
factors
are
also.
not Shamrik. Without facts, how you will be able to convey a
I'm not
point,
saying facts.
and
Facts are important.
how you will facts are important.
I'm
Without
not
that,
saying
how you
that.
will
I'm saying just get my point. I'm saying that communication is what makes the GD important, not the facts. Everybody knows the facts. We have to put the facts. How we are putting the facts and
Sh-
how subjecting, that's important.
Shomrek, if I can interrupt you right here, the point of this GD was only to get everybody on the same page and give everybody ideas on what to say if this topic comes up in an interview or a specific GD of some kind. Uh,
Yeah,
Facts, as Yashasvi said, are important just to convey your point. So without
yeah.
facts backing you, you can't really put forward your point. I can say, oh, Ashok Gehlot is to blame, but I need facts to back that up, na?
I am saying the facts are important, but in a GD, it also matters how you're putting the point. And that means, like, when you're saying, like, okay, you're definitely giving chances to everybody to speak, that doesn't matter. But in a GD or a debate, I think it is up to us to decide when we speak and how we speak. It's like the moderator is definitely there when there is something like when it goes out of hand, then it's different. But the most important point is how you interject, how you interrupt, how you react to the other speaking. That's what makes it a GD, and that's what makes it a debate. Like most of GD, that's what makes it a GD. So I felt somehow that was missing because first thing, it is not informal at all. The second thing is when it's a formal GD also, like everybody has the chance, everybody has the stage. How you come in, that is what matters. How you go
Somrik,
out,
just a
that is
second.
what
Somrik.
matters. But,
See,
yeah,
whatever you say is okay in a physical condition. We are here doing a virtual GD, so it's
That's
kind of
great.
hard doing
yeah,
that.
And
okay.
definitely.
That
That's why
is
we
why
can
we are
raise
going
hands
with.
now.
Shamrik has a point. I guess communication is important. Okay, we all got that. But I guess the crux of the whole discussion, the main thing is that as a country, India, we have to work on our anti-defecation laws because,
Yeah,
as I said earlier, that these things are nothing new, and this is not the only democracy which faces this issue. All the world democracy
yeah,
has say similar issues with it. So the majority thing, until unless we have anti-defection law, if a particular politically person is not afraid, so he will switch between one party and another party, because at that time you see your career, there are many aspects as well
Yeah.
combined. But if the fear that if you change any political party after you have, you are in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, so he will do it. And obviously this is the money, taxpayers money, all these elections are holding. So directly or indirectly, no matter which political party we belong or what ideologies we have, we are the ones who will be
Yeah.
suffering, because if re-election will be there, then from our tax money that will be held. So I believe that, as a country, anti-defection laws should be strict, should be hard, so
Definitely.
that people are afraid
So
to.
my point, yeah, yeah, please, definitely.
I think he's
You're
done.
saying something.
Shomrik, you can go on.
So I was just saying that I felt that, like the most, like the what I felt was I was just going to point out what Ankita said, like the debate, like a GD should definitely be ended with a proper summary, right? And that's what I was going to say, but Ankita already pointed it out. So that's the entire thing that I felt. So it's nothing. Like I understand your point definitely, but that's what just I felt. So please, yeah, excuse.
Guys, just wait 1 second. Shomrik, to your point, the only point I kept this GD, or the debate club kept this GD, was just to get that one answer which you typed in the chat. You know, who's to blame, Congress, BJP, or whoever else. So that was one point. The
Yeah,
second point, which you said, that interjection is important in a GD and how you communicate, it definitely is. It definitely is. But the thing is, we're not in a physical location. We are on the Zoom platform. Latency is an issue. People's mics are an issue. All that is an issue. And I don't know if you were
yeah.
there in the last two GDs or not, but in the last two GDs, we had like 17, 18 participants. And then if everybody starts talking at the same time, some people hear it, some people don't. You know how messy a GD can become.
It is impossible for 17 participants. It is impossible. Like more than 10 participants, even if it is impossible. So let's not take 17. And as for the point that you said, like typing the answers, that's where my problem lies. Because for a GD and a debate, I do not want to type my answer. Please,
No, exactly.
it's not a
That
question. Like I can't type my answer. It's a GD, man. That's
It
where my
it is
problem
a
lies.
GD, and
Because
that's why I asked you to type your answer at the end. I didn't start with the same topic. Now, who do you think is to blame? I
no,
didn't
definitely
start
not.
with that.
Like when I type the answer of the GD, I feel like I'm ruining the entire procedure, entire methodology of a GD. Because anyways, it's not. I'm not saying that it's wrong, but I just feel that only saying it out loud in a way to communicate is more important than just typing it out. Because then you are saying that okay, I'm going with this answer. It becomes like an MCQ type question where I have to choose only one answer. But in a GD and a debate, it's not exactly that. It's how we justify the points that's important. Like how valid our points are. Right. That is what's important. So,
But
anyways,
in
that's what I
Shomrik,
feel.
sorry to
No,
interrupt, but
Somrik,
in every GD, you need to come to a conclusion, because in
We
every
have
GD,
to.
you are asked that as a group,
Yes,
how do you conclude your GD? What
yes,
conclusion does your group
yes,
end up? If at the
yes, yes.
end the manager sees that your group is not able to come to a conclusion, that's also not right, correct?
We definitely have to come to a conclusion. But when we write an exact answer that okay, Ashok Gehlot is the one to blame here without really justifying my answer and just in a one word, it is not right. Like I don't feel it's right. If we justify it with a sentence or two, then yeah, I agree. Then it's definitely not an issue. But when we just write the answer without any justification, I feel it just ruins the point.
Somrik and Ankita, for the last two sessions, we have concluded that entire GD at the end. That part is still pending. I think Karthik will end
Actually,
this
Karthik
way.
will
Then
be
I
But
doing
have
that.
then I have no worries with that.
Uh,
so
Definitely.
I know this is not a formal GD or any kind of debate, but if we just want to just go into that nitty-gritty of GD, then I don't think this kind of communication will never happen, because you can see
That
for the last 1 month and or two, we are just planning to do something, but ultimately we
Uh,
are doing nothing. So finally, this kind of discussion is for me, it is a healthy discussion. I know this is not a formal GD or anything like that, but the sharing our thoughts can
yes,
influence us. So I
yes.
think that is the thing.
And the
Uh,
former GD is way more comfortable. Like this was definitely comfortable, but as I said, like I shouldn't have pointed out first. Like I should have waited definitely. But I just said what I felt. If the conclusion is definitely comes out, then I don't have any issue.
No, okay, what? Just to wrap these things up, I think we're going off topic a lot here. Shohamrik, to your point, point well taken. There's always scope for improvement in anything we do. My only point was the last two times we were doing this stuff we were discussing, and then we came to a conclusion in the end. I think that worked for the last two times. If you feel otherwise, point taken. We can
No,
always
definitely.
improve on that. Uh, Again, we are on a Zoom platform. We are not in a physical room, so I think that adds to some problems in the GD. If anybody wants to summarize the GD right now, they can do, or if anybody wants to share any points, they can do so right now.
I want to
Yeah.
say something like Ankita, the thing which you said, na, ki GD ends with a conclusion. That again is again not true, because this is where you cannot, because it is an idea of different people, and they won't accept until you're convinced. And in a GD, most of the GDs which I have faced, we never reach to a conclusion. Obviously, here we will reach, because we are like comfortable, and we are not fighting for our lives.
Hmm.
So according to me, again, because we all know, we have all heard all the points, BJP and
Yeah.
Congress and citizens itself plays a major role in any political activity that is happening, directly or indirectly. But I believe the ruling party, because it will happen in the future, of course it will happen. So the political party is the one who should be strong enough to stand there and to take the blame, and to see what went wrong with all the things, and how these things never comes again in the future.
So yeah, so the thing is, as Yashasvi pointed out, like the first thing is agreeing on the point. So in a GD, what's more important is what the a point that everybody agrees on. So coming to a summary before the conclusion is important, because that means that we have all agreed on this point, and therefore we are concluding this based on the mutual agreement of this point. So that's the entire idea that I wanted to convey.
But I think that also is not necessary. Like in any debate or anything, there will be multiple perspectives for
Yes,
all the people. So
yes,
what we should do is to hear all the perspectives and the ideas from all the
definitely,
people, and
definitely.
leave it to the whole people.
Yes.
Let them decide instead of judging.
Agree
After
by
hearing all the
yes, yes,
points, the people themselves should, each of them, decide
yeah,
what can I
agreed.
conclude.
Agree.
And
Definitely,
if
we all should totally agree. Like I agree to this point, you may agree to some other point, but that's not the point. We have to find out the points that we all agree on. Then only we can reach a conclusion. Difference in opinion is definitely there, and it is definitely important. But see, in a GD, you cannot come with a set mentality. When you come to a GD, we have to be open-minded. Like when I say something and I agree to your point more, then I can definitely say on this the next sentence that yes, I agree to your point, so I may be wrong. So I can definitely do that. So definitely that is the most important part. Understanding and discussion. That is the main part. Like reviewing all the points, reviewing everything. That's what makes it interesting. So yeah, definitely. And I guess today's experience was after a long time, it was a good experience. But that's just one thing that I felt shortly, so I just pointed that out. I hope you don't mind, please.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay, no problem. But then point is, see, we are going off topic. So
Yeah,
can we just
definitely.
come back? We conclude this, then we can
Yes.
talk about it because this session is
Agreed, agreed,
recorded. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, then
agreed,
I would like to
agreed.
add points
Conclude
to
it.
the topic. I saw here most of them writing Congress is to be blamed, but my opinion is that both needs to be blamed. But I still have reasons to say that BJP is to be blamed more, because as I said, the Congress, their mistake is not having an ideology, and their leaders, opportunistic leaders who are power hungry, switching the sides. And of course, BJP is utilizing it for the maximum they can. And see, this is not the first time it's happening here. Like with Ashok Gehlot and the Sachin Pilot issue, the BJP has done, and I frankly believe there may be difference of opinions. Like the BJP is not doing that, the people themselves which said, but it's my personal opinion. I don't believe that's the thing. BJP is using their power, their money to topple the government. It happened in Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, and many states. And in Rajasthan also, I think it's a part of this domino effect. And here,
Yeah,
uh,
true.
as I said, Arnab and Shubham said, like, uh, this Sachin pilot, he might, if he forms his own party instead of joining a BJP, that would be acceptable. But that what will happen, we will have to wait in the future. But my prediction is that even if he might form his own party, I think it won't stay as long as it would be. I think it would just be a buffer gap, and finally, maybe a matter of time, what I predict is he will also then go to BJP.
So
Yeah, and
Karthik,
one
can I
minute.
talk?
Hello.
Anybody else wants to add something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
so I would like to
there's
say
a
that without having the, are you going to speak, Sajid?
okay.
Please.
You could speak, Somit.
No, no,
Go on,
please,
go on.
Sajid, continue. No, no, please, continue. I'll come, continue after that.
Okay. So for me, I don't really think I don't really agree with the point that Abhishek said. There's a saying that only Congress could defeat Congress. It's the same thing that happening over and over again. Think about when the BJP arises as the biggest party. It's just that all of Congress were so concentrated on the concentrating on the flaws of BJP. They didn't really think about how should could they develop. This is the same thing that's happening even in Rajasthan. All of them are saying that it's all the also have the black hand behind the BJP. But it's the really the fact is that they don't really delegate the power to the youth of the Congress, and it's often affecting in several states, not only in Rajasthan. This is just a important fact. It's not really good for the democracy of India, as the Indian politics is going to is slowly becoming a one party country, and this is really bad for our country. So that's my point.
Okay. So can I say something now?
Yeah.
Sajid, your point is exactly right. I totally agree to your point. So to what Abhishek said, I just want to add to what Sajid said. I just want to say something. Let's just say that this world is based on being opportunistic. If you're not opportunistic, you will lose out. So, if because of internal riots in Congress, suddenly Sachin Pilot opts out, let's see that maybe situations are so grim for him inside the party that he wasn't finding a glass of water to drink. So what would he do? He would come to a place where he can get a pond and he can get fresh water from there. So let's just say that BJP is being opportunistic and he makes a place for Sachin Pilot. Sachin Pilot takes it. So who can we blame? Sachin Pilot or BJP or Congress? So that's just my point. Okay, BJP being opportunistic and taking people from other parties, I definitely don't agree to that. I definitely am against that because BJP does that a lot, right? Even in West Bengal, also BJP does that. But in this case, like if that happens, and then again, what we are lacking is information. If we get the right information, then yes, we can reach a conclusion. If we cannot reach a conclusion, can we say that BJP taking Sachin Pilot when Congress kicked him out is a very wrong thing, or Sachin is staying in Congress when Congress is trying to giving them a good opportunity for Sachin Pilot again, then will Sachin Pilot go to BJP? Definitely he won't. Right? At least I think he won't. But if BJP definitely works his plan out, then definitely we can blame BJP for that. But otherwise, I don't see any point like bringing other parties into the consideration. I don't think we need information for that. That's what I feel like. Yeah, please.
Okay, I also want to add one point, which Abhishek quoted, that the BJP, the center was the, like, the center mistake was that they are buying the Congress one. I just want to say that, like, Sachin Pilot and an MP, these are some famous people. That's why the news covered it, the media covered it. There are a lot of Congress workers, those who are leaving, and they are not leaving just because BJP is giving them money. They have their own purposes and own regions. So you have to look this aspect as well, that Sachin was a famous politician. That's why media covered it. Otherwise, there are a lot of people. And Abhishek, I guess in your area as well, there will be people, those who are leaving one party. So rather than just focusing on one BJP, you should also see what are the reasons why these people, those who are not in coming, outside or they are not covered by media. You should also
And as
see all these reasons as well.
Yeah, and as someone pointed out in the chat, I just saw that BJP, like if the own party itself is strong enough, then other parties cannot do anything. If you are going internal strife, then definitely some other party will take advantage. So I completely agree with that.
Yes, I would like to reply to all the people who have disagreed with my opinion. Here, first of all, I 100% agree that there are lot of mistakes with Congress, and I never try to support or in any way say that Congress is doing their best. But I say BJP is actually utilizing the weakness of the government, and I have reason why I believe the BJP is, you know, much more to be blamed here than the Congress. And like someone said, the apart from the leaders, many people in the ground level would also switch the parties, maybe because they both might be following kind of a similar ideology, or there may be changes. But I think it is entirely different from the situation wherein an elected government is toppled by maybe money power or political power and all. And here in the case especially, the I would like to give an example. Like if we blame Congress alone without blaming BJP, it's like you have a pot of milk in a house, and two people are guarding it, and one of a thief comes to steal that, and only if two of them stays there, it cannot be stolen. If one of them have any problem or they go away anything, the pot gets stolen. So in such a
Abhishek, to add
situation,
one thing to your story, it also depends upon where you are. If you are, talking about the rural India, or if you're talking about the Western, there are robbers, who won't come in front of you, but still your so-called pot will be stolen. So it also depends upon a lot of perspectives.
yeah, here what I try to just mean is that of course there will be internal problems, and they are to be blamed for that, they are to be criticized, and Congress has a lot of defects. I completely agree with that. But I just want to equate, like BJP still would be just like the thief who comes to steal that. Like you have many internal problems, you have lot of problems, so you just keep rectifying it. We have no problem, we are not to blame because we are using money to buy you. First you do all the rectify all the your internal mistakes. It's like questioning that way. That's why anyway, after all, the one who's doing what I feel is BJP. So it's not a way supporting anyway Congress. They have to improve if they have to come up as an opposition. There are lots of facts and lots of mistakes in their part also. But this I feel is
So
the
yeah,
reason
so
why I think BJP is to be blamed more than Congress, because they are one
Abhishek,
main thing is also
to
they are
your
in the power.
yeah, I agree to your point, Abhishek. So I just want to add something. Like when you're looking at BJP's point of view, they're like, dude, Congress is so damn weak. So let's just take opportunity for that. And Congress is like, we are the right things, and BJP. If Congress is saying that we have a lot of things to improve, let BJP come at us. We are going to fight them head on. Let's see if BJP can take even one of our members, or even if one of our members want to leave. That attitude, and Congress is going to rock up. And without that attitude and looking at other things like saying that okay, BJP is giving money, we can't offer money. What else can we offer? Like some people, like there is a rightly saying which says that do not look at what you don't have. You should definitely look at what you do have. When we do that, I don't think any other thing comes into consideration itself. But here the main point is between Sachin Pilot and the other game, right? Not about what BJP is giving money to other things. I don't think that is of primary concern here. But I may be wrong. Definitely, I agree to your point, Abhishek. So yeah, definitely that is a wrong thing. As I said, like ethics is very important. How you do what you do is not important. How you do that is what's important. Like what you do can be anything, and how you do it, that's what matters. So yeah, please. Thank you.
And the thing that I would like to say is that, see, if there are a lot of difference and weakness with Congress, if BJP is politically right party, what they should have done is to you know utilize that mistake and defeat them in the next coming election. Like I said, one example, in our state there were 70 to 68, and the opposition did not try to topple the government. Here the reason is that the people elect a member not just because of his individuality. It's also because
So
of the ideology or the party that he represents. The
can
people
I
is
say
actually,
something here? I just want to say something. Yeah, Abhishek, you're saying something. Please continue. After that, I'll say.
yeah, it's also because not just the individuality but the party. Like if I am completely anti BJP, I voted for a Congress because he's the one who's standing against the BJP, and after taking that vote, contesting the election with this ideology, he's switching aside. Because if BJP is politically
Abhishek,
right, they should actually do is to not try to
Abhishek, I
topple the
think
government.
Abhishek,
when we
one
vote for
question I want
someone,
to
we
ask
should.
you.
Yeah. Okay.
Abhishek, one question I want to ask you. Did
Yeah.
you voted for last Lok Sabha election?
Yes, last Lok Sabha election I voted.
Like, can you tell us like whom you voted? And the main reason would be, I guess, the because you believed in that party, because you're ideologically, similar views with that political party which you have voted. Okay, don't tell us which you have voted for sure, but that's the reason, that's the reason why we vote to a political party, because of the ideologies, because our thinking and their thinking matches, or we have faith or believe in them. That's the role. That's why we vote. And you are just saying ki because of the ideologies people are switching the sides. That's the whole concept of democracy. You have faith in some party, you believe in them, and you vote for them.
Now, what I'm saying is
But
that, see,
Yashasvi,
in an area, like say, if majority of the people voted for an ideology, it's not because of that individual, but because of that ideology. He won in the name of that ideology, and suddenly, after say like 2 months, he's switching to the another ideology. That's like
Hmm.
cheating the people, right? The people don't want
it's
that.
it's not
That's why they.
it's not this can also be the reason. Might be his eyes went open,
I,
he saw that there are more benefits in other ideology, he find interest in other places as well. Obviously, see, that switching is anti-defection law, which is already there in our constitution. Okay, but if you're not electing, if you're not participating in election, you can change your ideologies, and it's totally fine.
Yes, if you're not
Yashasvi and
contesting
Abhishek,
election,
can I add something?
Sure, you can.
Yeah, but I don't agree with both of you, because ideology is such a big term. So for a perspective with respect to the voter, they don't bother that kind of ideology kind of thing. They just vote someone um, who is who is not the worst. See, for me, there is two party who is worst and who is just somehow less than worst. Then I will vote that guy who is not the biggest thug in my area, not the biggest goon in my area. That is the unfortunate thing. We do not vote for ideology. We vote who is not that much bad. That kind of perspective.
mostly, I think our voters should be mature enough to vote for some individual rather than voting for some party. That's the thing I want.
No,
Okay,
okay,
no,
I
I would like
totally
to.
agree with
I would like to counter that argument with an example. How
Yeah,
much
sure.
ever good the biryani it is, if it's served in a dirty pot, you will not be able to eat it. Likewise, the individual is actually a representative of a political party. If you vote for an individual because of just looking at his individual goodness and he wins, actually the decision is not taken by him. It's actually the decision of the party which is represented through him. Like for example, I would like to ask you one thing. If like say don't make it as a controversy, just an example. Like if
Mhm.
someone like Mahatma or Mother Teresa
Hmm.
comes and stands in an election in the banner of ISIS, would you say
Hmm.
her individuality, or you would look at her, the party or ideology she represented as well? That's why I think individuality has
We look
a
at the
point.
ideology.
Abhishek,
That's
see,
what makes a difference.
mm, okay.
Her ideology is what she stands for. Because that's what the ideology is. Actually, anyways, coming back to the point,
Yeah,
like I just
that's
want to
what I
say something. Like
exactly intended.
we're
Rather
roaming
than
around the
individuality,
entire
it's the
India, roaming around the
ideology.
entire continent. So that's just broadening the horizon. If you keep broadening the horizon, it's going to take bring in a lot more facts, a lot more instances, lot more incidents, lot more events, lot more blah, blah, blah. So I think just coming back to the point, I want to say something here, like collecting from all the points that all of you added. Let's just say that according to Congress, like as you said, we should vote for the person. So taking that into consideration also, most of the votes were according to the personality, that is Sachin Pilot. because a lot of people voted because of Sachin Pilot, and he was one of the major reasons that Congress had won. And Congress accepted that. So Sachin Pilot, according to Congress, was supposed to be the CM. Then why the sudden change? Okay, that's just my opinion. Now you must continue. I was just listening to your points. Let me hear a little more. So I'll make a decision after that.
No,
Anybody
I
want to
think
say something?
we all have covered all the points, so I think we
I
can
agree. I agree.
wrap it up
Not
now.
all the points, but it covered a lot of important points. That's definitely
Yes,
true.
of
I
course, of
opened
course,
my
of
eyes
course.
and I see an entirely new picture. Not a new picture, but an updated picture with more
Exactly.
clarity. At least 720p, if not 180, like 1080, definitely. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
by
I
the way,
also
today's
think one thing that BJP is not a political party.
yeah.
It is a corporate body
Okay.
which has HRs
That,
to recruit
Arnab,
that,
I
like
guess
that,
your
India and other.
statement,
one thing I
I
want to add.
don't agree with
Yeah.
your statement. Like,
Maybe you don't
what is the
agree with that.
the definition of a political party and of a corporate are totally different. And
Bro,
I
I was just
don't
kidding.
believe, nah, okay, see, that's your perspective, that's your belief for sure, but that's totally wrong.
Like I think Arnav was saying that because of centralization, Arnav.
Yes, exactly. With that one, I am not
Centralization.
just defining that political party and corporate body. I am not going deep into that. I am just
Yeah.
going saying that
So
BJP
anyways, I
is
just
a
want to
political
add.
party that is much focused on its recruitments and other kind of stuff. They are much
Acha,
ahead of the other political parties.
Yeah, it's
Because
Acha,
their
by
very
the way,
legal,
parent,
right?
after this,
Arnab,
I
see,
just want to add a thing.
the Sh- Sh- Shomrik,
Yes, please.
just 1 minute.
Sure,
Arnab,
sure.
the thing which you are saying is right, but the difference is BJP is a political party, and the parent idea is the RSS. So
Yeah.
that, I guess, that is the thing you are saying. In Kolkata itself, RSS have been working from like 1992, and there is like not the like Shloka can also tell us that there are not BJP supporters there, I should say that. But the RSS is already working. During the COVID crisis, these organizations have helped all over the India as well. Okay. And that is why BJP it's easy for BJP, to flex their political spectrum. Just because they have a parent party which is already functioning. Just for an
But
example, if we look at the Lok Sabha election in 2019, if you see that
hmm,
BJP got 303 single seats, and most of them are in the northeast regions. And the main reason, if you just Google it out as well now, you will see that the RSS was working before the political party went to that specific areas. So I guess the way you were saying that BJP is a cooperative party, it's like they work under and parent ideology that was already working across India and abroad as well.
Yeah.
yes, I know RSS is working across the India, but I don't know about in West Bengal or in Kolkata because I have not seen that RSS team as a
Mm-hmm.
proactive team because there is hardly any activity from their side.
So they don't have to show everyone that they are working, and it's better for
No,
them as well.
They
Ki
just have
the
to.
they have to work there for the cause. They have to spread their ideology. They have to capture the voter base and everything. And this is not the only thing they have. Spread their legs in political. There are schools, there are NGOs working as well. So it's an umbrella, and BJP political party is just one part of it.
Yeah, but I have a very different opinion regarding the RSS, and it's it would be a very
But
negative opinion,
the
and
thing is,
No,
the thing
we
we
are just
cannot
sharing
be
our
saying
views.
everything from the big picture, right? Yeah, that's the thing. So definitely there are always points for every side, but we need to choose the best out of it. That's the thing. But we're not about a political discussion, so that's totally irrelevant over
yeah,
here. But I agree to
I
all
think
of
we are
your
getting
points.
out of the track right
Yeah.
now.
Okay, I just want to suggest a simple thing. If everybody would agree, then I think it would be a little bit better according to me. So can I say that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I was just saying that, see, the thing is what I felt was, look at discussion, JD is definitely good. Informal, formal, it doesn't matter, but informal is good. Okay, I agree. But can we keep a certain time space, like a time limit for the GD discussion? So because that I think would help a lot, please.
Okay, so Shomrik, I think we can end with the GD right now and then don't leave the call. We'll take
Yeah,
feedback or anything. है ना?
Yeah, sure.
Right. Thanks
Like
for
in time
joining.
gap, like 15, 20, 30, 10, whatever it is, but at least a time gap because
Uh,
that will help us.
Just a second,
Shomrik,
Somrik.
just
Let
a
him
second.
summarize it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for joining the GD, first of all. Right.